The show where there are no penalties, nothing is offside, and everything is fair game. This is The Gloves Are Off.
Hello and welcome to another edition of The Gloves Are Off. I'm Moses Woldu. We got a jam-packed show for you. A lot of RBC Cup talk, and it all starts with this man, my co-host, and I guess resident, I don't know what we'll give you a title this time. I couldn't think of one before the show. Anyways, he does something interesting every week. Andrew Brethauer, how's it going?
It's going.
Yeah.
It's been a long week. Definitely long 2 weeks of RBC.
12 to 14-hour days, that doesn't necessarily help. But the good news is you could be in worse situation. You could be the Brooks Bandits. Too soon?
My water's still on my table. Hasn't been spilt yet, so.
We'll get to them in a second. So eventually everyone will get into the inside joke. This guy, no joke, definitely one who's come out and has been ready to play. Former Bobcat, has worked his way up. You're now in the National Hockey League with the Ottawa Senators. Also spent time with the AHL affiliate in Binghamton. Pleased to be joined by David Dziurzynski. How's it going?
It's going good, yeah. It's off for the summer, so it's good to be back home where I grew up most of my life. So I'm just happy to be here.
Well, glad to have you on, and we're going to talk about the team that you were on, the team that we've covered over the past few months, and of course, what a run it's been for the Lloydminster Bobcats. However, they just fell short at the RBC Cup final, losing 4-0 to West Kelowna. But overall, when you look at the grand scheme of things in terms of what the Bobcats have done, and I'll start with you, Andrew, since you were there in the final, do you see a nice, long-lasting legacy and something positive coming out of this despite losing in the championship game?
Oh, there's so much positive. The success on this season was never going to be based on Bobcats winning the RBC. That was decided well before, maybe even before this tournament even started, because they've done so much to build up the program to where it is. With Gord and Gary and what they've done and getting like 13, 14 kids off to different schools, that's what's going to last. It's that success, and they talk about building a foundation here, and that's what they've done. It's making Lloyd a place that people want to come to play hockey, and that's we're recruiting now. Now you could say, well, we've hosted this, we've done this. Yeah, we don't have championships, but we're right there, and to be right there is a lot better than some of the teams you can say in the AJHL.
What's the impact
on the team
from now? I know next year is going to be a little bit different. I don't say it's a rebuilding year, but knowing that now Lloydminster is on the map nationally, what type of impact does it have for this team in, say, 2-3 years down the line?
I think you're going to see now, even next year. I don't even think that there'll be obviously slide from next year, but you're going to start seeing better players coming here. You're going to see them have like the top talent we're going to have coming here. It's not going to be always going to the Spruce Groves and Brooks and teams like that. We're going to start becoming, because we're known as a national team now. We're not just another team from Alberta. We're that team that can play with the big guys and play on a national stage. So I think we're going to be a championship team. It's just a matter of when, not if anymore.
Dave, you had a chance to play with this team. You were very fortunate to don the orange and black. Have you seen a change in maybe the culture? Because the team has, kind of been middle of the road when it comes to the AJHL. They'll have their good seasons, they'll have their bad. But do you see them maybe eventually, with the growth and what's happened here, potentially be like a Brooks and a Spruce in a way where they will be a contender?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even they've made it to the third round playoffs this year. I don't think they've made it that far. I mean, the players they brought in, the coaches, they've changed everything. So even from I've been here, we lost our first round. We got swept every time. So just even build it from 7 years ago to now, it's been a huge incline, and hopefully it keeps going up. So.
All right. Now I do want to get to this. Andrew, you've had, I guess, a interesting hand when it comes to dealing with the Brooks Bandits. I'm not saying all of the members or players, fans, you name it, were a part of this kerfuffle, we'll call it that. But if you look at what happened, the Bandits might be in a little bit of trouble here. They, after their loss, semifinal loss to West Kelowna, fans reportedly, and there was evidence that they tossed over tables. They turned over tables and chairs after that, which is obviously a big no-no. Police had to be called in. Reports of the actual hotel room, one of the hotel rooms that the Brooks Bandits were staying at, that ended up getting trashed. Then you look at the misconduct that was happening on the ice, I should say. And if you look at from the player standpoint, coach's standpoint, you name it, what was it? I guess you would know the specifics in terms of the numbers of how many misconducts were handed out. But you look at that all, this is a team that's going for the 2018 RBC Cup bid. Does that hurt their chances?
Oh, they imploded. Like, that's basically they're out. I can't see any reason why now, after what we witnessed, why you would give it to Brooks. And I've said this in the beginning, Brooks had a great fan base, and they did. They traveled so well, they were passionate, they were at those games, and you actually enjoyed watching Brooks play because of the fans and the way they were. But then your actions against when you lose a game, and it was only a 3-1 game, and this is your 11 players thrown out, coach thrown out, your fans acting like they're fans, the color commentator and the radio guy acting stupid as well. Like, there's going to be fines from that, and you're doing it on the national stage with Hockey Canada watching you. Now you expect to we're going to give you that? Like, why would any team want to go to Brooks to play in a national championship when they can't even act appropriately here? That to me is just, I don't know what to say about it, but it's just stupidity. There's nothing else to say about it.
It's hard to maybe say it from, I guess, from my perspective. You think that they should be punished in some sort of way, at least for the actions. Not everybody entirely within the organization, but something. Do you feel maybe even within their own league that they should be fined?
Easily, without question. Like, it's a recurring theme with the Brooks Bandits to call out the referees and to complain about referees. How many times? How many times are you going to keep doing this before we finally say, okay, like, guys who work for the team should not be calling out referees and putting them on 3-star selections. Like, that's, like, talk about classless. Like, this is known. I've been here for 3 years and I've already got this reputation of Brooks. And they hate me, which I'm perfectly fine with, but it's a growing concern around the league, and it's a growing concern within Canada. What I've heard, like, CHL president's not happy about it. Nobody's happy with the way Brooks acted at the national championship. And now you want people to come to you?
Yeah.
Like, no.
All right.
You're welcome, Chilliwack.
All right, leaving it on that note, we're going to go to you, Dave. I want to talk to you about this. You're going to put your coaching hat on in this situation. The Stanley Cup playoffs resume again tonight, Eastern Conference Final. Yep. The Lightning could put this series to bed with another victory over the Pittsburgh Penguins. However, the biggest story out of this is the goalie situation within Pittsburgh. Matt Murray got blown out in Game 4. They nearly came back when they put, I guess, Marc-Andre Fleury in that third period, but fell short. Fleury started Game 5. I'd say play average at best. Allowed a couple goals that were questionable. Ended up losing that game in overtime. Game 6 must win. Who do you go with? Do you go back to Matt Murray or do you stick with Marc-Andre Fleury?
I would go back with Matt Murray just because the way how well he's been playing all playoffs. He had one bad game. That's going to happen, I think. I mean, every goalie is going to have a bad game throughout the playoffs. You can't play strong the whole way. So I think they're going to go back to Matt Murray. I played against him. He's a great young goalie, hard to beat, plays his position really well. So I think they're going to go back with him, and I think Pittsburgh's going to win the next one.
I agree. He got you there. You let him beat the Rangers. You let him beat the Capitals. And now you're going to pull him out now. Like, it worked. Yeah. Didn't work with Marc-Andre. If he won that game, now you ride him. But he got you there. It didn't work. Put him back in, and I would put him also back in because this is going to tell your future. If he wins, well, then you can say goodbye to Marc-Andre Fleury. You don't have to worry about it. If he loses, well, then you can kind of weigh your options then. But throw him in. He's the guy who got you there. I
know in Ottawa they had a similar situation last year because you had a guy like Craig Anderson who was who's struggling, and then you throw in a guy like the Hamburglar himself, and
he went on an
absolute terror, which ended up making the postseason for you guys.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it got him signed. He was a backup, but he still signed. Do you still go with the number one? If they decided to go with Fleury in this situation, you guys are saying, is it a bad idea? I think I agree with what you guys are saying. Yeah. Murray's the guy. I feel Fleury's, his time is gone. I think if they go to Fleury tonight, then I say that I don't know if Sullivan needs to be back as a head coach. But that's how I see it. Do you agree with that?
If they start Fleury and he loses, I think you've just kissed Fleury goodbye. Like, he's your number one goalie, supposedly, and he's had a terrible run in the playoffs, like, for the years to come. So I think it's time to move on.
All right, guys, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we're going to have an interesting controversy about race, but this time not involving black athletes, but white athletes in particular, football position. We'll tell you more coming up.